Good evening, my friends. I am making this video from my handphone, and I thought it important that I make this video straight away, even though I am in the midst of taking my evening walk. And I decided to do so because I came across a video of the press conference between Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and Prime Minister Tun Mahathir this afternoon, following their leaders' retreat in Putrajaya. And a question was posed by Malaysia Kini to both of them about the impact of the proposed fake news legislation in Singapore. And, you know, as expected, Lee Hsien Loong gave the standard answer about how it was needed to combat fake news and so on. But what struck me was the completely different approach taken by Tun Mahathir, which I am going to show you on the split screen.
Hi, Annabelle from Malaysia Kini here. This question is for both Prime Ministers maybe. Singapore's new protection from online falsehoods and manipulation bill has courted international criticism. I mean, Reporters Without Borders has said that the law censors internet users and gives a large amount of discretionary power to the government. This is while Malaysia is moving in the opposite direction with the Anti-Fake News Act. So to the Singaporean Prime Minister, what is your response to concerns about this bill? Yeah, thanks.
I'm not familiar with the details of the Malaysian Anti-Fake News Act, but I would be surprised if it is the same provisions as what is in our POFMA, the Protection from Online Falsehoods and Manipulation Act. This is a problem, the problem of fake news, of deliberate false statements being proliferated online is a serious problem which confronts many countries. Singapore is not the only one who's legislating on this issue. The French have done so, the Germans have done so, the Australians have just done something similar and very draconian. The British are thinking of doing things as well. So Singapore has had to do it, and we've had a long process of a select committee, publisher.
If I may say so, it is so much more an enlightened approach that the Malaysian government is taking, trusting its citizens, repealing the fake news legislation that Najib brought in before his downfall last year. And as Tun Mahathir said, we trust our citizens because this proposed fake news legislation, or the fake news legislation that was passed by Najib, could have been misused by the Malaysian government to suppress freedom of speech and freedom of expression.
Well, in the case of Malaysia, we have made a promise that we will do away with the anti-fake news law. But that is because this is what the people want, and we respect the people who actually voted us into power. On the other hand, of course, we know that the present social media can be abused quite seriously. For us, that means that we have to learn how to handle such fake news.
The Malaysian government trusts its citizens. Tun Mahathir said, yes, there may be inconvenience caused, but we are confident that we can handle it. Contrast that with the approach taken by our government, my fellow Singaporeans. It is an approach that shows the world that this government we have is insecure, that it does not trust its own people, that it feels the need to clamp down on their civil liberties.
And finally, we have got this bill, and it's going to be debated in the House, and I hope eventually it will become legislation. So I'm not surprised that Reporters Without Borders criticizes it. They criticize many things about Singapore's media management, but what we have done has worked for Singapore, and it's our objective to continue to do things which will work for Singapore. And I think POFMA will be a significant step forward in this regard.
You know, my friends, The famous American Supreme Court Judge Oliver Wendell Holmes once said, "The life of the law is experience, not logic." Can we even come up with an instance where our society has been so convulsed by fake news that has resulted in riots, violence, that we need to take such a draconian approach to clamp down on freedom of speech and expression? And on top of that, make ministers the sole arbiter of truth. Yes, the government will say you can appeal to the courts and all that. I will have more to say about that, because what sort of appellate process is even envisaged? That is not even clear, my friends. So that is not a fair answer. That is not a sensible answer. But I want to leave you at this point in time just with this thought. Look at the video carefully of the two leaders and ask yourself this question: which is the more confident leader? Which is the more confident government? And which is the government that trusts its people more?
For us, that means that we have to learn how to handle such fake news. But when we have a law that prevents people from airing their views, then we are afraid that the government itself may abuse the law, as happened in the last government. We do not want any government, this one and succeeding one, to make use of the law in order to tell fake news. The government itself to create fake news in order to sustain themselves. But of course, it will be difficult to handle, but we believe that we can accept the challenges and we can handle them.
Thank you very much. I am sorry that the video is not well shot. I'm actually positioned on a swing and my phone is moving as I am filming this, but I hope you get the gist of what I am trying to put across to you. Thank you.